Okay. Y'all ready? Good. Greetings to everyone that's here. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. You know, I jokingly said, it's so cold. If I wasn't the president of Gaston Concert Association and wasn't interested in this concert and it wasn't my church, I believe I'd stay at home tonight. It's just that cold. But that's definitely 3 good reasons to be here, and the real reason is a wonderful way for us to wish you a Merry Christmas. For those of you who do not know, this actually is St. Nicholas Day. So happy St. Nicholas Day, and I know that you're going to enjoy this evening. And I was asked to announce, and I feel kind of bad about it, but I do want to announce that there are restrooms in the adjacent building in what we refer to as the connector that connects the 2 buildings, and then the going outside to the parking lot in the Parish Life Center. There are restrooms on the left side there. So if anybody needs that, at least I've made the announcement. Okay, thank you. But I do welcome you here. You know, St. Nicholas was all about giving, and so I hope you enjoy the gift of music this evening. We do have some visitors here tonight, and I'm very glad to have all of you here as well. I am going to take just a second to introduce Matthew Noonan. He is at the organ, and I think you can read all about him in your programs. He's magnificent. I know you're going to enjoy it. And this brass quintet, they're going to introduce, the leader is going to introduce them at will. So I'm just going to leave it up to them and say now, let's welcome this great event. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you so much for having us. We are the Gold Street Brass Quintet, and that was a little piece, an original piece, although, with some Christmassy stuff mixed in there by our own Kevin Cleary over here on trumpet. In fact, every piece we have tonight was arranged or composed by a member of this group, specifically one of these two guys right here, Kevin and Andy right here. So that piece was an arrangement called Christmas Morning Overture that we were happy to play for you guys at night. So this next little piece is one arranged by Andy Washburn over here on trumpet, and this is called Noël Provençal, 3 French Christmas Carols.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to introduce this next piece. This might be my personal favorite on the program, and it kind of has an interesting backstory. So the piece we're about to play for you is a chorale prelude on In Dulce Jubilo, which is certainly a tune that you will definitely recognize, probably one of the most famous Christmas melodies around. This piece is by Bach, but it's not by the Bach. So J.S. Bach is the Bach that we think about, but as history has unfolded, we found out that a lot of the music attributed to Bach was like, Bach's wife and Bach's sons and Bach's cousins and his uncles. So this piece is by a Bach, but we're not sure it was by the Bach. And this piece is this piece is actually has a special place in my heart because the beginning of my journey as an educator, my first ever Christmas concert as a student teacher at Kings Mountain High School, I conducted a band arrangement of this piece on the concert. So it'll forever hold a special place in my heart. And then I loved it so much that I decided to arrange it for our brass quintet. So this is a brass quintet arrangement of a band arrangement of a misattributed Bach piece on a chorale prelude in Dulce Jubilo. So it's been quite a journey to get to where we are, but we hope you'll enjoy it. This is a chorale prelude on In Dulce Jubilo.
Thanks, y'all. Kevin, thanks for sharing the backstory on that, because this entire time we've played that piece, I always thought you just misspelled J.S. Bach on our music, but you didn't, so thanks for that. Should never have doubted you. We're going to play a couple more pieces for you. This is another arrangement by Andy Washburn right here. But before we do that, let me introduce the group to you. This is Andy Washburn over here on trumpet. Kevin Clary. Yeah, feel free to clap if you like. This is Kevin Clary also on trumpet. This is Les Dix over here on trombone. Yeah, Ruthie Rao on French horn. Yeah, good job. Yeah, it's getting loud. There we go. They like the horn a lot. There we go. That's what it is. And my name, again, is Chris Murphy on the tuba. No, thanks, Les. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. All right, this next piece is an arrangement that is probably the newest one in our repertoire. This is an arrangement of Angels We Have Heard on High. Thank you guys very much. We have one more brass quintet, only brass quintet piece for you left before we turn it over to Matthew for his portion. This next piece is another arrangement by Scott Watson, which was then adapted by our Kevin Clary over here for brass quintet. This is called At the Feast of Stephen, a tune you may know as Good King Wenceslaus.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight, by the way. This is great to welcome so many of you to Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. I'm the organist here for the 11 o'clock service each Sunday. I invite you to come back to our church. Most of what I'm playing tonight is Christmas, with one tiny exception. The very next piece is sort of Christmas and sort of what we call Advent, which is the period right before Christmas. In the church year, as we look forward to the Christ child coming, many times we also look forward to Christ coming actually back for his people, and this piece would fall into that category. It's called Wachet auf, ruf die Stimme, which means sleepers awake. And when I was very young, my father taught me about Lutheran chorales, and this was one of his favorite ones. So my late father would be very pleased to hear it. I'm going to play Johann Gottfried Walther's setting of Wachet auf. Thank you. I'm going to minimize my time getting out of the organ because it's kind of close, tight in here. At any rate, this next piece is a setting of What Child Is This by John Innes. John Innes was the organist for the Billy Graham Crusade, and he is still alive. John Innes is still living. He was born in 1937, and he is still alive, and his music is widely played in many churches of many denominations. This is his setting of What Child Is This? And I bring attention to it because I'm going to use a very old stop, a stop that's been around for hundreds of years. It's called a Zimbelstern, and it's a star behind the grate over on that side of the organ, and it's got little bells on it. And whenever I pull the stop, it turns the star, and the bells ring in succession. And it sounds kind of interesting. It gives a very otherworldly feel to the music. So I'm going to start with that and begin with it, and then I'll turn it off as I begin to play. Thank you. The next setting is by my arguably, it's not arguable, it really is, my favorite composer, Johann Sebastian Bach. I'll admit it. I love Johann Sebastian Bach. And he wrote oodles of organ music, tons of organ music. I'm going to play one of his settings of Vom Himmelhoch, da komm ich her, which is Luther's Christmas hymn. Luther wrote a hymn to welcome the newborn child, and it was published way back in the 1500s when Luther started his ministry. And this hymn appears in pretty much every Lutheran hymnal. And I'm going to play it on something called organo pleno, which is Italian for full organ. The way it's commonly played is on full organ, which is the way I'm going to play it. The cantus firmus, or the tune, appears in my hands, but it comes in definitively in the pedal each time. There's 4 phrases, and each time it comes in the pedal. So here's Vom Himmelhoch. Thank you, I appreciate that. And my penultimate piece I'm playing is a little longer. It's called Fantasia for Christmas. It's arranged by a man named Curtis Hanson, and it incorporates several Christmas carols into it that are slightly older. For example, The First Noel, which is relatively older, as Masters in This Hall, which you will recognize when I play it, and Percent Hoodie, which you will also probably recognize, and also Angels We Have Heard on High. So we're going to try to cram all of those into one piece. Here we go. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to play one last piece by myself before the brass come back and join us. And the Magnificat, if you're familiar with the Magnificat, it's the part where, it's the part in the Holy Word, the Holy Bible, where Mary is told of this miracle, this child that's going to be born. And she says, "My soul doth magnify the Lord." I mean, it's a really great time. And Marcel Dupré, the French concert organist of the 20th century, he died in 1971, he was born in 1886, he had 6 settings of the Magnificat, 6 settings of them, and they vary in order of both difficulty and strength of the organ. The last one, number 6, is the finale, and it's the Magnificat, but it's the finale of his series, and it's that I'm going to play for you tonight. I'm going to end with it. It's short, but it's pretty intense. It's the Magnificat by Marcel Dupré.
All right, y'all. We thought appropriate, if we're going to have organ and brass playing on the same concert, they have to play together. So this is where we're going to sneak in one more of our Advent things. But this is an arrangement of a hymn called Braden Vog for Herren. And excuse me, I don't speak German very well. I should have had somebody else say it, but that's okay. This is an arrangement by Kenneth Abling for brass quintet and organ. And you will recognize this hymn tune, I imagine, once we start playing it. Now for our final couple of pieces, we always thought I would consider the Freebird of brass and organ music together. This is a couple of movements that you will probably recognize once we start playing, but this is a couple of movements from Handel's Water Music. Thank you guys very much. Once again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you so much for having us. Matthew Noonan has been killing it on the organ. We're the Gold Street Brass Quintet. We have one more piece to play for you. This is The Rejoicing.
Well, how about it? Let's see. And for Matthew on the organ. And now for the brass quintet. Thank you, thank you. You know, I think it was worth coming out in the cold. So thank you for being here. I do want to tell you, I think it's on. I do want to tell you that when you go out of this room and go to the right, we are doing a reception. If you would like some cookies and hot cider or something, please join us. And of course, maybe you'll have a chance to meet some of these wonderful musicians. Thank you again for being here, and be safe going. I know that there are some of you that are parked across the street. That's just the way it is, but there is an officer that's supposed to be out there helping you cross, so thank you. And thanks again for being here. Good night.